He's probably at the yard right now getting ready for this day game as the Giants try to salvage a game. Oh, no, he's not there. He's in Augusta, for crying out loud. How can I forget? Flem, what's happening, man? What's going on in Georgia?
I can't believe you forgot that. Seriously, of all weeks.
Of all weeks. I'm caught up with the Warriors, Flem, the Giants, and everything like that. It's just, Bonte, the Masters. Flem is at the Masters. I'd rather talk about that right now than what happened last night at the yard.
I think I would too. So,
we want to talk golf. Let's talk some golf here. No, seriously, it's obviously the concern right now are the bats. The bats just haven't got going yet with the Giants. Whether it's Mike Yastrzemski, whether it's Matt Chapman, whether it's Soler, they're just not hitting right now. That's got to turn around here. But the pitcher's got to keep them in games as well. What's your overall take in these last two games against the Nats?
Well, I mean, look, I think everybody's frustrated, and you can see that starting to bubble to the surface. I thought in the first road trip when you and I talked last week, I thought that, the spirits were pretty high, even though they went 2-5. I really thought coming back from the road trip that everybody had their head held high and the body language was really good and the confidence level was still high. And I think these last couple nights you started to see something a little different. And, maybe part of that is the pressure of some expectations, pressure of playing at home, and then you finally get somebody other than the Dodgers and the Padres, and the games aren't going. It's only 2 games, but it does feel like you got to take advantage of those games against teams you should beat, and the Nationals are a team the Giants should beat. So I think that does sort of ratchet up the feeling of pressure.
What's going on with the bullpen? Just overall, I'll get into what I'm seeing last night. Like last night, you scratch and claw to tie the game. You get Harrison off the hook. You go to Ryan Walker in the 7th. Now, we can nitpick. It's early in the season, whatever. But in my mind, it's like, 7th inning, one of the Rogers brothers is going to come up. But then later on in the game, you see both Rogerses, and they don't look sharp. Like, is this just a matter of guys aren't executing? Is Bob filling out different roles? What's going on with the bullpen right now?
I think it's probably a combo of those two things. I definitely think a new manager, a totally new bullpen, even though he's seen a lot of those guys up close for years on the other side. So it's not like he doesn't know those pitchers. But I do think when you're a new manager, there is an element of trying to kind of figure out, okay, how and when can I use guys to get the best out of them? You think that should be simple, but I don't think it's always that simple. So I think that is probably a little part of what's going on. And I think, you circle the Rogers brothers. We all love them. They've been big parts of this team. They have long, successful track records. But those guys are really important to this bullpen. Like, you got a lot of other young guys. You got a closer in the 9th inning who's not going to be used in a different role than that. So you got those two as sort of your veteran anchors. You're counting on them. And if they're not performing well, there's probably like a cascade effect and not in a good way. And that's not to single them out or say that, the whole season depends on them. But if you're not getting consistent performance from those two, the whole thing looks a lot different.
No doubt. Dave Fleming here on the Morning Roast on 95.7 The Game. He joins us every single week to talk a little Giants. We also got the Masters as Dave is live in Augusta, Georgia for the Masters this season. Of course, that begins tomorrow in the morning here. But looking at the at-bats, Patrick Bailey, he's been the top of the conversation. Obviously, a lot of fans are on Yastrzemski. 2 for 3 yesterday. You got to tip your cap to him. Starting to grind out some at-bats here. Mike Yastrzemski. But Patrick Bailey, he's been a little off, especially behind the plate. What is your take on Patrick Bailey? Is it just a slow start? Is he just getting the cobwebs out? What's your take on Patrick Bailey here, Flip?
I don't know. I mean, Patrick is a very talented guy, and I'm certainly not putting him on notice. But I do think, at the end of last year, the defense really slipped. And his game is predicated on that. Like, he's got to, I think last year, in a way, like whether the reason was the fatigue or whatever it was, I think that last year's staff kind of let a lot of that stuff go. Some sloppy throws, some sloppiness, handling, framing pitches. I do think a lot of that stuff down the stretch sort of just went unaddressed. And, Patrick knows. Patrick is a very proud guy. He really cares a lot about his defense and working with those pitchers. But, he cannot he's not going to be considered one of the greats of the game if that sloppiness continues. So I think he's fine. I think he's going to be a really high-level defensive catcher all year long. But those little mistakes, if you want to be the best of the best, if you want to be considered Gold Glove quality, it can't be all the good and then a lot of that stuff. It's got to be more well-rounded.
Yeah. Can't miss tags. I mean, he had a ball in foul territory yesterday. He makes the catch and dropped it on the exchange, and I didn't see the replay. I was like, I'm kind of glad they didn't challenge that because it was close, and it's a gimme type of a play. To that same degree, I'm looking at Matt Chapman. He's playing excellent defense. I mean, the guy, he does something at least once a night where you're like, wow. I mean, Pablo played a great third base. Longoria played a great third base. They just don't have that in the bag like what he's got. But again, last night, I know bases loaded situation, grounds into the double play late. He's just not driving the ball, and the at-bats are just, they're looking a little rough right now. What are you seeing from Matt Chapman offensively specifically? Yeah,
the at-bats don't look great. I mean, they don't. He's hitting the ball hard. Like, his hard hit metrics are good. But I think, number one, this was a weird offseason for him. And, a lot of expectation about what the contract was going to look like and where he was going to land. And I think he's really happy that he landed here. I mean, I think this is where he wants to be and wanted to be. But it would be impossible to believe that there isn't some pressure on him to really perform, to turn what he signed into a longer, bigger deal. And I'm sure he's feeling a little bit of that. I'm sure he is. And I'm sure he wants to impress Bob Melvin, who went out on a limb on his behalf and impress Giants fans, who are watching him up close for the first time. So let's give Matt Chapman some time because the track record's just too good. The defense is too good. He's helping the Giants big time with the defense already. Like, he has made them such a better defensive team, just him alone. So I'm going to give him some time. But I do think, like last year, the one little underlying thing in all those numbers for him last year was the hard hit rate almost came too skewed towards the opposite field. Like, we need to see, for him to really be a star-level player, that pull side power in the air needs to show up again. Like, not just ground balls to the pull side, but the power, the line drive power to his pull side needs to be there.
Flem, I'm looking at it's Shasky cited the numbers of the runners in left in scoring position. What was it, Shasky? 2 for the last 33?
2 for 33 in their last five games, runners in scoring position.
2 for 33. But not only that, you watch the Nationals, Flem, and you see C.J. Abrams, you see them all running around. They befuddled the Giants over the last 2 seasons, but their athleticism. And we all can agree that the Giants are more athletic than they were a season ago, but it hasn't translated on the base pass. No stolen bases yet this season through 12 games. And maybe I overrated the speed on this baseball team, but Flem, it looks like they're going to have to create some things here on the base paths to get some more runs going in until the big bats start going.
Yeah, it's a concern for sure. Now I will say this: teams, if you look across the game, there are a few teams that are running wild. There are a few individuals who are running wild, but the stolen base success rate has gone down here in the early season. It's only a couple weeks, but I do think after last year, teams are prioritizing quicker moves to the plate, better pitcher awareness. I think that has been a reason why the Giants have hardly even attempted a steal, is a lot of the pitchers that they're facing are doing a really good job of getting it to the plate quickly. Mm-hmm. And so, part of when you don't have a big base stealing team, your opportunity to steal or run often just comes from the stopwatch. Like, what does the stopwatch say? If this guy's slow, we're going to go. If he's not, we're not. And I think you're seeing more attention to detail across the game in that way. So I think you're right. Like, some of that has to show up. You can't just be totally station to station. And they're not that. Jung-Hoo Lee's had some really nice base running, not base stealing. Matt Chapman had that dash to the plate on opening day where he ran, about as fast as any Giant did all last year. I would also point out this. So the runners in scoring position number, brutally ugly. No steals all year. That's kind of crazy. But here we are. It's 5-game homestand, and they haven't hit a home run. Yeah. So if you're gonna not be a fast team, and we know the runners in scoring position thing can come and go, right? Some of that is just that ebbs and flows naturally, even for the very best of teams. You got to be able to every once in a while hit it over the fence. Like, I know it's cold. It's early in the season. The ballpark's not a home run ballpark. But you go a homestand, if they don't hit a home run today, you go a homestand without hitting one, you're not going to win many of those games. You're just not.
Yeah.
And so they have to tap into some power, like Conforto, Soler, Chapman, Yastrzemski. They've got enough guys who can do it. Lamont Wade has a really nice swing going, but it's like a low line drive kind of swing, a single sort of swing. They need some power from this group.
No doubt. I mean, Estrada has been really quiet. He was a catalyst last year. He led the team in stolen bases, 24, stolen bases by a wide margin last year. He was a catalyst. And seeing Abrams hit that home run yesterday, I'm like, God, I would love us to hit that point at AT&T Park. But let's get into the Masters real quick because you're there. I know I'm losing my mind with the Giants. But Flem, it feels to me the biggest storyline isn't the course. It isn't the individual players, Rory going for the Grand Slam or Rahm or Spieth with the wrist injury. It feels like it's Live versus PGA and everyone on both sides plus the fans being frustrated that it's not united. Is that the feeling you have on the grounds at Augusta?
It is not the feeling on the grounds. I think you're exactly right. That is the feeling everywhere else. On the grounds, I think the feeling is, wow, it's the Masters, it's Augusta, it's the springtime, it's the world's greatest players, and it's the world's greatest tournament. So the feeling here, when you're here, is exactly like a normal Masters. The egg salad sandwiches taste the same. the 12th green looks the same. Like it just is, it's spectacular here. So the feeling here is great for golf, and it's a beautiful day today, and the place is just packed. And so it is a week where I think everybody's just focused on the golf here, but you're right. The game has massive issues. And, this is a tournament and it's a golf club that helps to shape the world of golf. And I think they're trying their best to do what they can to alleviate some of those problems. Those are big problems. So we'll see. I think I hope we have a great Masters and it leads into a season of majors that are really competitive and fun, because the rest of the PGA Tour is struggling right now. It is.
No doubt. And hopefully the weather holds up down there in Augusta, Georgia. I heard the weather's supposed to be bad tomorrow, but hopefully it holds up over the weekend. You have a great time down there. We'll talk to you next week.
Just tomorrow morning.
Just tomorrow morning.
So, because you guys got to get up really early if you want to catch my whole coverage, because we come on first, like 4, 5, and 6. Holes 4, 5, and 6.
Okay.
Our coverage comes on first thing in the morning. We're the first live golf coverage you see every day. Tomorrow, though, you might not have to wake up as early. I'm thinking noonish, probably the rain will be gone, and they'll try to get everything started sometime around there. That's just a pure guess based on the forecast, but it's going to rain a lot overnight and in the morning. And then from there on, it's supposed to be a spectacular weekend. I tell you what, it's going to blow. The wind is going to be a factor, at least for the first couple days. It is playing very firm and fast right now. So the rain's going to tamp that down. It'll be interesting to see how quickly it dries up again, and how the course plays, say, like Friday morning and beyond. The weekend could be one of those weekends where the putts are rolling like extremely fast, even by Masters standards.
How many times you played Augusta, Flem?
I played 3 rounds on the big boy course.
Oh, man.
That was the most incredible flex.
Well, you asked
of all
him. He
time.
gave you a
I'm
truthful
jealous.
answer. Gave you a true. We'll get out there.
What's your best score? Let's hear it.
My best score was probably like an 83. I didn't play, I just didn't putt. The whole thing is the putting, and I didn't putt beautifully here, as you could probably guess.
Yeah.
My caddy, after watching me 3-putt one last time, my caddy looked at me and just went, God dang. He was so disgusted with me.
Of all, how much merch did you buy?
I didn't buy it. I try not to go crazy, man. You could buy everything in there. I've got a really nice Masters polo or a pullover, like quarter zip on right now. Yeah. Okay. You put your order in with me. I'll go stop by for you. What size?
A large. I'll text you on the side.
What color scheme do you like?
Hey, user's choice. I trust your style. I've seen you out in the wild.
What will look good out at West Sunset?
Yeah. I love you, Dave.
Oh my God!
Vontae's so sick to his stomach right now.
Oh my gosh! We'll get him out. We'll get Shasky out to Augusta. We'll get him out there one day. One day.
I doubt that.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll spend his whole paycheck.
Have a good one, buddy. And these Giants will win one. I'm feeling today.
They're gonna be just fine. I promise. They are. They're gonna be a good team still.
You hear that, Lubman? The Giants are going to be just fine.
Lubman's losing it.
Yeah, they're losing. No, Flip. Shasky and Lubman are losing. You should have seen them yesterday. Oh my God, they were going crazy. It's like, dude, we're 11 games in.
Who cares?
You're fine. It's a marathon, not a sprint.
I saw Will Zalatoris maybe a half hour ago, and he just walked right up to me. He was playing the 17th. He walked right up to me. He goes, "Runners in scoring position. Come on, man."
I love him. See you, Dave.
Right,
you should root for him. See you guys.
all right, man. See you
I
later.
love that man.
Oh my gosh.
If there's one broadcaster who I'd like to be, it'd be him. Think of the